Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and a great honor to be here on this campus to share with you some of my understanding of the philosophy of nonviolence. I've been asked to speak to you today about nonviolence in the age of terrorism. And I think what happened to us on 9/11, makes nonviolence all the more important for us to understand. Because what happened on 9/11 has taken violence to a new level, to a level that is unimaginable. It has brought war to our doorsteps, and nothing is sacrosanct anymore. We will have to throw all the conventions, the Geneva Conventions, and all the rules of engagement and all that overboard. And now it's going to be free-for-all kind of war there. And that is what my grandfather was afraid of. When in 1945, after the bomb was thrown on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a correspondent asked grandfather, "What do you think the future of the world is going to be?" And his response was that we no longer have the luxury of choosing between violence and non-violence. Now the option before us is non-violence or non-existence. And I think we are coming to that stage of non-existence very quickly. Maybe not in the terms of annihilation, but certainly in terms of annihilating our humanity. We are destroying our humanity, we are becoming inhuman because of the culture of violence that dominates us to this great extent, dominates every aspect of our life. Now we have to ask ourselves, what caused terrorism against us? What was it that happened? It wasn't just that one 9/11 morning these people got up and decided that they were going to hijack some planes and crash the tower. It was planned for a long time. And we need to find out what were the issues that involved and made these people do such things. Just as we have to ask ourselves, what caused Hitler to emerge and do what he did afterward in World War II. Hitler didn't drop from the sky, and he didn't perform this atrocious acts of Holocaust just because he thought about it one day. But it was the cumulative effect of our greed after World War I that caused Hitler to emerge and lead the world into World War II and all the atrocities that we experienced. And in the same way, it is again our greed and our thoughtlessness that has given rise to terrorism against us. We were so keen on finishing off communism that we got the Islamic jihadists trained in Afghanistan, internationalized the conflict, and told the Muslim nations that communism is a threat to Islam all over the world, and you got to fight it and destroy it. We gave them the weapons to do this. And then when they were able to destroy communism in Afghanistan, we just walked away from there, leaving them high and dry with all the weapons that we gave them. And these people, coming from poor backgrounds, illiterate backgrounds, fundamentalists, were left there with nothing at all, no future for them. And they realized, well, if communism has been a threat to us, so is the United States a threat to us. So let's attack the United States. That's what they've been trained to do. And that's how this whole question of terrorism against us has emerged. And we are today faced with the challenge of dealing with this. When 9/11 happened, I still remember the day vividly, as I'm sure all of you do. And when this happened, for almost the whole day, I was paralyzed, just as all of you were paralyzed. Couldn't imagine that this kind of thing happened. And what should be our response? And from the next day, I was flooded with telephone calls from all over the country, people asking me what is the nonviolent response to this situation. And I decided to write an article on this subject and offered it to various newspapers and media, but none of them were prepared to publish it because they all said this is not the time to talk about peace. And I said, if this is not the time, when do you talk about peace? But since they were not willing to publish it, I put it up on our website and printed it in our newsletter. And the gist of the article was that declaring a war on terrorism is not the answer. We have already demonstrated to the world that we are a superpower in terms of our military strength. Now is the time for us to demonstrate to the world that we can also be a superpower in terms of our moral strength. And that we are not going to respond to this kind of senseless violence by more violence, but we are going to take a moral position on this and do the right thing. And the right thing to do at that time would have been for us to do some introspection, to find out where did we go wrong? Why are our relations with the rest of the world so bad that these people were motivated to attack us and cause such distress and harm to innocent people? And then repair our relationships with the foreign countries. It's obvious that our relationship has not been ideal, because our relationships, like all foreign policy relationships everywhere else, have been based on what is good for the United States or what is good for us. Each country thinks only about themselves and what is good for themselves. And that is a very selfish way of looking at things. And such selfish attitudes can only lead to conflict. And I think that we have reached the stage of the United States when we no longer need to look at what is good for us, but we can look at what is good for the world and do the right thing for the world there.